Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to Deborah's Money Journey. Last month was rough and I almost gave up. Hi, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Deborah, and on this channel, I am sharing my financial journey, whether it's saving and showing you how I do that. This video is focusing on my $25,000 retirement savings goal for the year of 2026. This year has been rough, and since January, the growth has just not been there. But one thing about being consistent means that you keep showing up even when it doesn't look like it matters. You keep showing up even when there's no progress. You keep showing up, and eventually, all of those times that you showed up is going to pay off. That is my hope. Now, I won't lie to you and say that this is not an easy thing because I am very close to retiring. I also started my journey late. So, with all of that in mind, I don't have a whole lot of time to lose money. And since January, when I checked my numbers, I was down over $5,000. And that is a lot of money to me. And so I really was discouraged. And I was also scared because it just seems like there's no end to our funds kind of dropping. And I've been watching other people, they're talking about losing, 20,000, 40,000. I know mine's is probably a drop in the bucket, but it's my money, it's my drop in the bucket, and it's important to me. And so it's been very nerve-wracking, just not really knowing what's coming and if this is how long this is going to last, I think. A lot of people are saying this is a correction in the market. Okay, let's hope it self-corrects soon. I do know that I checked my numbers and that $5,000 deficit did go to about 3,000. So thank goodness it did go up a little bit, but it's still, we don't know. So I did make a decision like for the month of March. I was not investing as much. I was not as focused. I was not as intentional, but it didn't mean that I stopped. I just didn't feel it as strongly as I felt it the other month. So March will be a little different, but I'm going to share my March numbers with you, and I'm going to give you a quarter one update. And do me a favor, if you are new to my channel and you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I am getting very close to 2,600 subscribers, and I would love to have you join me on my financial journey. Thanks in advance. All right. So for the month of February, let's recap. I invested $1,577.25. I earned $182.19 in dividends. And so the total savings was $1,759.44. In January, I saved $2,327.77. So when you combine those 2 months, by the end of February, I had already saved $4,087.21, and I had $20,912.79 to go to reach my $25,000 goal. All right, so let's go to my individual positions, and I'll share with you what happened in the month of March. So for the month of March, on the 4th, I invested $25 in my general investment account. I also invested $25.25 in my robo investing account. On the 10th, I invested 25. 10th, I invested 25 in my robo account, 25, 25. And then the reason I'm putting the 25 cents is because when I invest in that account, they give me 1% back and that gets invested back. So I added the 25 cents because it's invested into the account. All right, on the 12th, I invested $20, and then on the 16th, $25. On the 16th in my robo account, $20.25. So on the 21st, I earned $6.44 in dividends in my robo investment account. On the 24th, QQQ paid me $3.23. On the 24th, the GRO, that's a newer position. I wanted to have a growth investment account that paid monthly dividends. So that's why I selected that one. I earned 90 cents. And then my bond investment, that's a Vanguard position, I made $1.84. So my total March investments and progress was $178.16. So I could have definitely gone over 200. I could have. And, looking at this, it just shows you I didn't put nearly as much effort as I have in the last 2 months. But I did invest. And what I do is I have been just putting the money into the account. And I haven't really invested it into a position. So it's sitting in the account waiting to be invested. And, just because things have been looking a little ominous, I have not felt the need to invest it in certain positions, but it is sitting in the account. All right, let's go to my next position, Vanguard. Okay, so on March 3rd, I invested $25. March 11th, I invested $30, and March 17th, I invested $25. So under $100 in my money that I just transferred to the Vanguard account. And then on the 26th, I earned a dividend on VOOV for $6.67. I earned a dividend in my VYM account, and that was $13.91. And then I earned a dividend in VTI for $10.76. So all of the dividends were reinvested back into the platform. So my total Vanguard savings for the month of March was $111.34. Again, not a lot of money, but it's something, and it's going towards my total goal. Okay, M1 Finance. So in my M1 Finance account, I have two pies, and my pie number two has the most funds in it. But the other pie, it was kind of like my first account that I opened when I started my M1 account. And so that one is, it's kind of near and dear to me because, again, I opened that first pie with a few positions, Microsoft being one of them. And I believe I have Amazon in there still. And I am investing in AWR, which is a utility. So I'm going to try to diversify that position, and it's actually working pretty well. Okay, so on the first, my cash management account, which is a savings account, I earned $1.23 interest. Now, the first, of course, would have been for the month of February, but they don't pay it until the first. So I'm adding it to my March progress. On the 4th, I invested $25. On the 4th, I invested 25 in pie number two. On the 11th, pie number one received $25. And then on the 12th, I earned a dividend from Microsoft. That was $3.43. M1 pie two, I invested $25. And my M1 dividend for VOO paid me $15.03. So my total M1 finance funds that were invested was $119.69. So again, very low investment, very low amount sent to Vanguard, and a very low amount sent to my M1 finance account, but it was something. And so when you look at my numbers, I invested about $100, and that was it for the month of March. So going to my next position, Fidelity. So for the month of March, I invested, so on 3/2, I did receive a dividend from FDHY for $11.89. On the 5th, I received a dividend from my Roth IRA, from my JEPQ account for $16.46. On the 11th, I invested $30. And on 3/16, I invested $300 into my Roth. That is a monthly contribution that I don't skip. So no matter what happens, I'm sending that money to my Roth. Okay, on the 18th, I invested $25. On the 4th, I earned a dividend in my IRA for $61.99. And then on the 30th, I had another dividend from SCHD. I made $63.70. And then on the 31st, my SPAX account, which is another account that pays dividends. And this is the account that kind of holds your money until you're ready to invest it. So I earned $72.19 in that one. So a total of $581.23 was invested, or dividends were reinvested into my Fidelity account, And yes, looking at this, my investing was very minimal, but my dividends made up for it, and I did pretty well considering in this account. And the final source of money that I put towards my retirement is the money that I've been saving, which is cash money that I cash stuff in my retirement binder. And a total of $400 is sitting in that binder waiting to be cash stuff. I really just didn't feel like doing that this month, but I will do a cash stuffing. If I don't do it, within the next week, I may just combine the month of March and April, that particular cash stuffing, and just do that for both months. But we will see. I probably will go ahead and do a cash stuffing soon to get the money from March invested. All right, so let's talk about our totals. Okay, so for the month of March, SoFi, I invested $178.16. Vanguard received $111.34. Fidelity, $581.23. My M1 Finance account, $119.69. And my binder, my cash is sitting at $400. So the total amount I saved for the month of March was $1,390.42. If I had been tracking this, I could have added 10 more dollars so that I would have reached 1,400. But again, I just wasn't as focused this past month on my investments because I just didn't want to look at the numbers because it was too disappointing. So several times I didn't even open up my apps. I know Mommy Trader said if you have to deactivate your apps, she said do it so you don't have to look at them. But, nonetheless, I just won't look at them. And if I do, I'll shut them down quickly. So the month of March, guys, even though in all of the hesitation, disappointment, feeling helpless, and just really concerned, like with a capital C, I was concerned, I still managed to pull together $1,390.42, which I'm very proud of myself. I am not really seeing that amount reflected in my total, but a lot of that money has been it moved to investments. So it's going to grow, it's going to move when something happens. All right, so for the month of March, my investing overview was I was able to invest $1,100.75, which I am proud of myself because I didn't realize it was that much. For the dividends I earned, it was $289.67. March is usually a pretty good month for dividends. So I'm almost at $300, which I'm very happy because, again, this will be an income source in retirement. And then the amount I saved when you combine the two was $1,390.42. Okay, so for January, I was able to save 2327.77, and in February, I saved $1,759.44. So because this is the end of the first quarter, I saved in quarter number one $5,477.63. Okay, so based on my retirement goal, the total remaining to save to reach this goal is $19,522.37. So yes, I am under 20,000. I did say last month that was my goal to get under 20,000. So I am under 20,000. The quarter I feel like started strong. March threw me for a loop. The growth is not there like I was hoping it would be there, My positions are stagnant and, it's very unsettling at times. But I am going to stay the course. I'm going to keep working on my investment account, keep saving, and keep putting money towards this goal because I know that in the long run, this money is very important to me and I need to make sure it's working for me. So that is my March quarter 1 investment update. How are you all doing? How are you all feeling? Let me know in the comments. I hope you all have a wonderful April as we move into quarter 2. Take care, everybody, and I will see you again in my next video. Bye.